Hello everybody, great to be with you again. Welcome to this Q&A session with Plamen Nikolov, our General Manager of Esseterre, Bulgaria. My name is Tim Valentiner. I am the Vice President of Global Strategic Sourcing for doTERRA International. And we received a list of questions from all of you, and we are now going to try and answer some of them. But first, we're excited mostly to be able to feature these three amazing, beautiful oils from Bulgaria. First, of course, lavender, melissa, and then rose. And this Bulgarian Flowers Collection is special and unique in the touch format just for the European market. Plamen, you have it. Hold it up.
I have it.
There it is. The Bulgarian Flower Collection. We hope everyone has ordered one already. If you haven't, don't miss out. But we're excited to answer some questions about these oils themselves and all the great things that are happening in Bulgaria. But this is exciting that these oils are featured in this touch format in a beautiful box. Wonderful presentation that does all the justice to how amazing these oils are and all the work and labor and love that goes into producing them. Well, let's jump into the questions, but first let's have Plamen, please introduce yourself, and then we'll get to the questions.
I'm the General Manager of Esseterre. I'm supposed to explain my role at Esseterre. This is hard to be explained. But I try to organize our work here, our distillation, the hundreds of people working here at Esseterre, and to react properly on the expectations from doTERRA about the quality and quantity of the oils, especially of these three beautiful oils. And we're in the middle of a lavender distillation at the moment, so there is a lot to do. So I can't describe my role with a sentence or two. But we will come to this. That's it.
Thank you, Plamen. Plamen is very busy, especially right now. The rose campaign happened, rose production season happened, the melissa production season is happening now and just finishing tonight. It sounds like we were talking just before the call. And lavender is right in the middle of it. So yes, things are very busy, but it's exciting and good.
Yeah.
Okay, so in celebration of this wonderful Bulgarian Flower Collection, which is a limited time only, so make sure to get one. We will jump into some questions you have submitted, and we'll try do our best to answer them.
Yeah.
First one, Plamen, what is the difference between doTERRA's rose oil and the rose oil one can buy when on holiday in Bulgaria, or in the airports, or in general, this more, I guess, generic rose essential oil? What's the difference?
What should I say? This cannot be described exactly with in a couple of sentences, but as you and me were discussing before, you pay what you get what you pay for. More or less, what we can be sure in is our own rose oil, which goes through a very sophisticated and complicated check in our laboratory, in the laboratories of doTERRA. So we can be absolutely sure only in the rose we are offering to you. Everything else is not fair to say about the other producers or about the products available, but once again, you get what you pay for, and all of you should be very careful with something with a description rose oil. The fact that it smells like rose doesn't mean it is a rose oil. The rose oil, as you know, is quite expensive. We will come to this in the next questions why, but it is a fact, and everything which is not in this price range is more or less not
real
oil. Yeah, not real. Exactly.
You're right. Anything that because it smells like it's not it typically. And if you're paying $10, $20, 20 leva, 50 leva for a bottle of rose oil, I can guarantee you that it's not real rose oil. It's a fragrance
Exactly.
that smells nice and maybe has a little bit of rose oil in it, but who knows what the other ingredients might be, synthetic or maybe natural isolates. But yeah, you get what you pay for. So
Exactly.
be careful.
Please, yes, be careful because you cannot expect healthy benefit from this. Maybe you can put it somewhere to have the rose aroma, but the benefits definitely not.
Therapeutic benefits, yeah, not present.
Absolutely.
Number 2, how many petals? This is the famous question we always get, right?
Yeah.
How many petals or flowers are needed for a rose 1 ml?
1 ml, yes. We have done here some calculations. Exactly 3.6 kilograms of rose petals are enough to produce 1 ml of rose oil. Or in other words, imagine 3,600 kilograms of rose petals are enough for 1 kilogram of rose oil. Compared to 2.5 kilograms of melissa, are enough for 1 ml oil, and 100 grams, 0.1 kilograms of lavender flowers are enough for 1 ml of oil. So the differences are huge, which explains the difference in the price.
Yeah, exactly. Suffice it to say, it takes a lot of rose petals to be able to produce a small amount of oil. Same thing for melissa. Lavender has a higher yield, but typically, rose and melissa are some of the lowest yielding plants in the essential oil world.
If I may say something else, which is maybe with a couple of sentences very interesting, melissa and lavender can be harvested with a machine, which the rose you can't do. The rose petals are hand-picked, and you can imagine that the best picker in his best moments of the day can do maximum maybe a couple of 100 kilograms of rose petals, maybe 300-400 kilograms of rose petals a day, which means that you cannot even collect or pick enough rose petals for 1 kilogram of oil. This is a very, very hard work, the rose picking, by the way.
Yeah, it is a massive effort to collect all the roses, and during a very crunched timeline of when they have to be picked. They're only able to be picked in a very 2 or 3 week long period.
Exactly, early in the morning. Yes.
One calculation that we've included in the past is it takes about 10,000 rose blossoms to produce 5 ml of rose oil. So if we divide that by 5 for a 1 ml, then we're talking about 2,000 more or less rose blossoms to be able to produce 1 ml of rose oil. So it requires a tremendous amount of raw material. Okay, question number 3. Is there any waste in the production of these essential oils?
Yes, of course there is waste. Finally, these are plants and they are distilled. For your information, the lavender and melissa are steam distilled. Rose is a water steam distillation, which means that you put the rose petals in the boiling water. But in any case, there is a plant, there is a biomass left at the end, and we are working already a couple of years on this to organize it, to compost it. It is a hard work to persuade the farmers to bring it back on their fields. This will happen in the next 5 years. It will take us only 10 years to make them understand that this is the best way. But we are working on this at the moment. There is a compost place not so far away from our distillery where we bring all the biomass.
So because this requires so much biomass to produce the oils, obviously after distillation, there's a lot of material that the fiber, the cellulose material that is not absorbed or not extracted during the steam distillation process. all of this, you have to do something with this. So everyone, depending on the oils and part of the world, different things can be done with it. But in the case of Bulgaria, it's typically used as a compost, a biomass that can be turned into compost that goes into organic fertilizers or to other type of compost material. At one point, we were providing this for a dairy operation. Some of the lavender post distilled material, which is a good fiber feedstock that can be used for animals. So we're always being creative in how we can make sustainable, productive use of this biomass post distillation, and so we will always be finding new and creative ways to make sure we're using every single piece of the plant after we've extracted every drop of oil that we can. What is your biggest challenge in the process of obtaining Melissa oil?
Melissa, first of all, it is recommendable. It is not a condition, but it is recommendable that the Melissa is distilled very fast after the harvest. That's why we are trying really to organize the farmers around the distillery and to come to have them in the distillery quite fast after the harvest. Another challenge with the Melissa is to pick the right moment for harvesting, because it has to be just a moment before the Melissa blossoms, which of course which doesn't happen on all the fields at the same time. Actually, this is fortunately, because we can go field by field and to harvest it, but this moment is very important. And the last challenging thing is the irrigation. The Melissa is very sensitive to water, and it needs a lot of water, and it needs water until the last moment before harvesting. And so in our area here, the northeast of Bulgaria, this is not the richest area in Bulgaria for water, and it is a challenge. It is a challenge for the farmer to organize the irrigation all the year through.
Melissa is as you've explained, is such a tricky, temperamental crop. It needs to be well managed. It needs to be coddled and taken care of very carefully. But then at the point of distillation or harvesting, getting it to the distillery and distilled as soon as possible is critically important. So in the case of Melissa, with rose and lavender, both of those are harvested after the plant has blossomed or there's a flower present. But in the case of Melissa, the right time to get the best oil yield, but also the oil profile that we want, is right before flowering, or right before the plant flowers. So
exactly.
All right, now question number 5.
Okay.
Oh, we actually did this. What are we doing with all the floral and herbal rests after distillation? So producing a massive amount of compost material that helps with organic farming and putting that organic material back into the earth, but also as a feedstock. And we've also, I guess we could mention, Plamen, we have explored the idea of potentially compressing it into briquettes or pellets and using that as a clean burning fuel for homes nearby to try and help them replace burning traditional, charcoal or wood. But that's still a work in progress that we're exploring.
It's work in progress, and especially the lavender is not the calories are not that much in the lavender. It produces a lot of ashes, and is maybe more for industrial burners. Like at homes, it will cause a lot of problems and work for the people. So more for industrial use. But on the other side, when we talk about ecology, Tim, to burn it is not the best way to solve this problem. So our best recommendation is to bring it back to the earth.
Great, thank you. This is a good segue to our next question, which is, I'm wondering about monoculture. How do we make sure that the soils stay fertile? And maybe not so relevant a question, but just super curious. All the people that grow, harvest, and distill these oils, they must be extremely happy and calm with all these essential aromas around them.
Yeah, this is let me answer as a politician. Thank you for this question. It is a very original question. It is interesting to mention this, but actually, the rose, the lavender, and the melissa they are not annual plants. The melissa has a life something like 5-6 years, and the rose and the lavender over 20 years. So speaking about the monoculture is not exactly maybe, because you don't have the chance to move each year or every couple of years with the plant. It stays there for 20 years, and the only way is to take really good care about the soil by fertilizers. By of course we are trying to explain to our farmers that to put a lot of chemistry in the soil is not a good solution, and we are proud to we are proud to announce that actually this tendency is down. So they are using less fertilizers in the last years, because there is no effect actually for us. It is and for them too. More biomass doesn't mean exactly more oil. Sometimes, in some cases, especially with the melissa, which is a very fast-growing plant, you can achieve exactly the opposite with more fertilizers. You can have a large plant with a very hard stick where there is no oil. So the idea is to leave the plant to have its life on a natural basis, and not to help the plant grow fast with fertilizers. And they slowly understand this, and we are very happy with this development and understanding from our farmers. And going to the second part of the question, if they're happy or not, they are definitely happy. But honestly, maybe I will tell you something which is not very okay, but I will say it. Bulgaria might be a great producer of essential oils, but among the people there are no tradition to use the essential oils. And honestly, Tim, actually the doTERRA is making also here the impact that our farmers and the people in Bulgaria get knowing the oils through doTERRA and not through the own production, which is very funny.
Yeah, no, it's great. It means a lot of work for our wellness advocates in Bulgaria, especially need to teach and train and educate so people know the amazing oils that are produced in the fields around them.
Exactly.
Yeah. In the terms of monoculture, you're absolutely right that with a perennial crop that regrows year after year, the problems that typically happen with monocropping are not as present. Where if you have a corn or a soy or a wheat crop or sunflower, something that gets replanted, an annual crop every year, that's where you can have a lot of the changeover and problems with losing biomass, but even carbon material from natural carbon material from the soil. That changeover year after year is where you get a lot of the depletion and degradation of the soils. But where we're leaving the biomass in there, it's a perennial crop coming back every single season. Then the way we treat and help maintain the soils during harvest, but after is what's most important. And Plamen, how do we maybe explain a little bit about how do we provide those agricultural services to the farmers with whom we're working? How do we make those recommendations to use less fertilizers or using more compost or organic fertilizers when they're helping to maintain their melissa or lavender crops? How do we provide those services?
We have two agronomists employed at Esseterre. Their only job is to go farmer to farmer to our contracted farmers and to talk to them on the field, by the way. And they're discussing not the questions in principle, but with each farmer they're discussing the situation about his field, on the field, which is customs made advice. And on the other side, we are collecting our farmers. We are inviting them at least twice in a year, a little bit before the campaign and after the campaign, to discuss the results and our expectations. Actually, because this is our fifth campaign already with the lavender, we know very much, a lot about the plants, not only lavender but also melissa, and it is easy to convince the farmers when we have the results on the table, the numbers on the table. The numbers speak the easiest language, the direct language, and this is how we approach them. Of course, we are talking about some problems for years, but when you put an Excel spreadsheet in front of them and compare the years, this is the best way to persuade them for the idea.
Yeah, great. So a lot of outreach, a lot of coordination before and after the harvest, but we also have 2 agronomists that are visiting each and every farmer, helping them to know how to maintain the fields, how to implement the latest strategies or the latest inputs that we're recommending, but then also when's the right time to harvest and how do we optimize the oil yield and the oil quality based on what's going on in their field.
Absolutely, exactly.
What is the harvest season for lavender, melissa, and rose, and can you harvest them more than once a year?
Only the melissa is harvested twice a year. As I told you before, this is a very fast-growing plant, and we are harvesting this once at the end of June, second half of June, and then in August. The rose and the lavender are harvested once in the year. The rose is harvested in the second half of May and the first half of June. For the lavender, the month is July. July is the lavender month. And as I always made this joke, I will make it again. So we are traditionally, really, we are starting the campaign on the 4th of July. Not because of US, but it happens every year. And by the way,
nothing to do with doTERRA.
It happened this year too. And sometimes at the end of July we are done with the lavender. Of course, depending on the rainy days in the month, which are less than usual. Yes.
Maybe people didn't know this, but the reason for all of the fireworks and the excitement and celebrations in the United States on the 4th of July is partially about Independence Day, but it's also the start of the Bulgarian lavender campaign, the harvest season.
Exactly. It cost us a lot, but we are continuing holding on the tradition.
All right, great. How many people work in Bulgaria to produce our essential oils for doTERRA?
Esseterre is growing really very fast, and only for 5 years at the beginning we were 3 people, and now our permanent employed people are 100, and we employ another 140 seasonal workers, and our season is actually longer than usual because we have to take care about the melissa, then the lavender, then again the melissa, so we employ them somewhere in May and keep the seasonal workers until at least the end of September to finish the second harvest of melissa, to clean up everything and to prepare the equipment for the next year. We have also savory in between, so there is a lot of work, and altogether in this month we are 240 people.
So 100 full-time year-round, and then another about 140 seasonal workers that are employed for about 5 months of the year.
Exactly.
They're all maybe talk about how the seasonal workers are also paid and treated.
Okay, of course I can mention this this will be understandable. There is a Roma minority in Bulgaria, and our workers are mainly from this minority, and actually we have a wonderful relation to these workers. A lot of them, the most of them actually are working already for the 5th time for Esseterre, or at least for the 4th time, and they are treated very fairly. Tax benefits, of course, and clothes and food and everything which belongs to a worker at Esseterre. They are very happy with us. There are two villages actually. Almost the whole villages are employed at a certain moment at Esseterre. And we know each other for years. We have been at family parties. Yeah, it is a great spirit in this direction, and we like it.
No, thank you. It's important context that traditionally in a lot of the agricultural sector in Bulgaria, the Roma population are usually not treated well at all. They're usually paid in cash because people can avoid paying taxes that way, and they also can avoid, qualifying for the state programs that the Bulgarian state offers. But from the very outset, we made the very deliberate decision that we were going to elevate how the Roma, particularly workers, are treated. So providing them we help them get government documentation. We help them get a bank account set up. We ensure that they're being paid fairly, but also legally, and that all of the payments are going to an account, that they're recorded, that they're reported to the government, so that they can start to integrate better into becoming recognized working citizens within the country, so that they can qualify for the different programs, and trying to help remove the stigma, remove the way it's been done traditionally. And so trying to help raise and escalate, like we always do with Esseterre, to raise the bar in terms of how things are done in Bulgaria. And then all of this is in addition to, or not including the farmers with whom we contract and work for growing the lavender and the melissa and the rose. So more or less 140 lavender farmers that we've contracted or worked with.
This year 136.
And then how many melissa farmers have we contracted or worked with over the years?
Approximately 25 or 28. All the contracted farmers this year are about 180. Lavender, melissa, and savory farmers.
Great. So 100 permanent employees, 140 seasonal workers, and then on top of that, the lavender and the melissa farmers with whom we work, and then of course all of the rose harvesters that are collecting all the rose, which is hundreds, in some cases thousands in the season.
Exactly.
Great. What has been the impact of Esseterre and co-impact sourcing in Bulgaria?
Actually, yes, we were just talking about this, that there is a huge number of farmers engaged with us. It is worth to be mentioned that we are treating also the farmers on the best possible way. Our prices are in most of the cases the best. Actually, for the lavender and melissa, we are the price building factor. Actually, we Esseterre can decide what is the price of the oil in Bulgaria, which is great. It is a big responsibility, but we're happy to do this, because on this way the farmers can be sure that they will get the fairest price possible. On the other side, we are paying immediately in time, right after the delivery or right after the distillation. We are paying bonuses. We even enlarge our bonus program this year for lavender. And we make the difference, because we are not only paying bonuses, but we are giving advices to the farmers how to achieve this. Because for example, I can say we can pay a bonus for something which is impossible for the farmer, but we don't do this. We are putting a fair level and giving him advices how to achieve this, which is actually the good side of the game. Of course, you can count at least 4 people to each farmer. Their whole families are engaged with in the most of the cases with the farming.
Maybe talk about the lab, Plamen, just the fact of having a GCMS laboratory on site at the distillery. has that ever been done before in Bulgaria, and how is that different?
Actually, this is the first. Esseterre was the first distillery with a very sophisticated and equipped laboratory. The difference for the farmers is that the lavender, the oil, any oil they deliver or they distill with us can be checked immediately. Within a day or two, which means that we can say immediately what the price for the farmer will be. And on the other side, our laboratory makes a long-term studies, so that we can give advices. This is very important for me to have the possibility to advise the farmers. And what we are doing now, I told you a couple of days ago about the lavender, trying to enlarge the campaign. Our laboratory actually found out that if they start with the harvesting a little bit earlier, they will have better results and will be qualified for the bonus. And from the one side, this is good for the farmers. On the other side, this is good for us because on this way we get at least 1 or 2 weeks. We can act 1 or 2 weeks to the campaign, which makes our life easier.
Allows us just to stretch out the production season. Yeah.
And allows us to sign more contracts with more farmers, because I can tell you that we have a huge waiting list with farmers wanting to sign a contract with us, which is a great honor. Just 4 years ago, it was not the case.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most telling thing, is that we have a long waiting list of people that would love to work with Esseterre because of the way they're treated, because of the transparency, because of the consistency, because of the commitment, because of the bonus program and the on-time immediate payments for after distillation, and just overall how the farmers are supported during, before the harvest, during the harvest, and then all of the partnership after the harvest for the years. I mean, for some of these plants, they can be in the ground 20 years. So farmers, it's a big investment, a big commitment for farmers, but they want to be partnered with the best.
Absolutely.
And traditionally, I think it's important also to note that without having a laboratory and testing and a bonus program, most of the time farmers are just motivated to produce as much biomass as they can and bring it to the distillery, and then whatever oil gets produced, it gets produced. There's really no focus. Without testing the quality of the oil, there's really no incentive or motivation for the farmers to improve the quality of their yields, which leads to better oil. If it all goes into one big pile and farmers aren't really sure whose is whose in some cases, or even the oil quality isn't a priority, then in many cases there's no incentive for the farmer to improve his field or improve the production, or her field, to be able to say, I get better quality oil when I do this. And so the testing allows us to know that better quality oil is present, and then we can help pay this bonus to incentivize them to do it even further next year. So Esseterre again, raising the bar, elevating,
raising the bar, new standards.
New standards. That's right.
Yes.
Okay, last question, Plamen. Are there any new initiatives going on at Esseterre? And this has, of course, been a very strange year so far, but maybe what can we tell people about new things that we have in the works right now?
Even in a year like this, 2020, with all the problems, I can tell you that we are keeping the tradition to have a construction every year. Starting in 2015 until today, every year we construct a building, sometimes a distillery, sometimes a warehouse, office building or something like this. This year is a new distillery. This year is the new rose distillery of doTERRA. We started in February, March somewhere with the construction, and we are almost done. Very soon the last equipment will be installed and we can say the distillery is ready. there were some delays, of course, based on the situation in the world, but it's okay. Not a big deal. The rose distillery, Terra Rosa is the name, Terra Rosa. It will be in the heart of the Valley of Roses, in the Rose Valley, in the heart of Bulgaria. In the south central part. This is the place where the Rosa Damascena grows on the best possible way for our area, and the best possible oil can be distilled there. We are really in the heart of this Rose Valley, and can I say this? Everyone is invited to visit us next year or in the years after. And there is a beautiful place. You have the mountains in front of you, and all the Thracian tombs around, a lot of history, and the rose gardens. Every couple of 100 meters you have a rose garden blossoming in May and June. So this is the perfect place. We are intending to build the perfect rose distillery in order to have the perfect rose oil. This is the news.
Yeah. Great. No, thank you. That will be very exciting. We were trying very hard to have it ready for the campaign, before May this year, but for obvious reasons that was not possible. But we still are very excited to be ready for the 2021 harvest season, and hopefully all of you have the chance to come and visit Terra Rosa at some point very soon, maybe early as next year.
Exactly, and on the other side, as you can imagine, we cannot open a new distillery without visitors, without hundreds of wellness advocates. This is just not our tradition, so we will wait.
All right, well, thanks so much, Plamen. This has been fun.
I thank you. I thank you.
And as we mentioned at the beginning, for us, this is absolute pleasure to be able to feature 3 amazing oils that we work very, very hard, that the Esseterre team is working all year long to be able to produce in always the CPTG quality, the very, very best, but also in the volumes that we need to keep up with all of our amazing wellness advocates that are doing a great job of educating and teaching and helping people understand how to use the product. So to have the Bulgarian Flower Collection, this limited time only kit in all touch format just for Europe is pretty exciting. So please take advantage of it, buy them before they're gone, and we hope this background and Q&A has been helpful to understand about all the work and the love that goes into producing these oils for everybody.
Thank you very much, Tim. Exactly.
Plamen, please get back to the campaign. We know it's a busy one. Lavender lavender oil is flowing right now. So thanks for taking some time, letting us interrupt the day to sneak away to do this with us. But send our best to the whole team. And again, thank you so much. And thanks to all of you for watching. And we hope all of you can come visit us at Esseterre at some point in the future, one way or another.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Tim. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.